News that's gripping the world once again. As data related to the recent COVID surge in China remains shrouded in mystery, more countries are imposing mandatory testing requirements on arrivals from China. Now, in the latest, Australia, Canada and Morocco have imposed these precautionary measures. Australian Health Minister Mark Butler says from January 5th, travellers from China to Australia will have to submit a negative COVID-19 test. Canada has also announced similar measures. Ottawa says air travellers to Canada from China must test negative for COVID-19, no more than 2 days before departure. Morocco, meanwhile, went a step further. Morocco's foreign ministry says the country will impose a total ban on people arriving from China, whatever be their nationality. The ban will be imposed from January 3rd to avert any new wave of coronavirus infections. EU countries, meanwhile, will meet this week to discuss a joint response to travellers from China. Sweden, which takes over the rotating EU presidency, said it has called a meeting of the Council's crisis management mechanism on Wednesday. Countries like United States, Britain, France, India and others have already announced similar curbs. Countries fear that a recent COVID surge in China could produce new and deadly variants of the virus. For more on this, we are being joined by Jean-Pierre Cabeston, who is a professor at the Hong Kong Baptist University. Welcome to WION, John.
Hello.
Now, there have been terrible visuals coming in from China. We've been seeing them all through the last month. Now, do you feel these curbs would be enough to contain the spread, or are we just looking at an inevitable deadly spread of the virus across the world once again?
Well, I think China is facing an unprecedented situation because the government has decided to lift most of the restrictions and go back to normal without much preparation, actually. You know, the number of elderly who've been vaccinated remains pretty low, and there's been also some problem with the hospital system. The lack of IUC places, and the access to medication is also becoming a problem because a lot of Chinese want to buy medicine to preempt any COVID disease. Mm-hmm. So the difficulties are quite enormous ahead. Now, the estimation is that maybe there will be 1.5 to 2 million deaths in the coming month. We don't know whether it's going to happen. The problem is the government in China hasn't stopped publishing data about the number of fatalities and number of cases of COVID-19. So we are kind of in the dark here. And there's been a request made by the WHO to the Chinese government to publicize more information about the state of the COVID pandemic in China, and also about the possible new variants, which have, according to rumors, have started to spread around China.
Jean, now, it is bizarre that China would keep its borders open at a time like this. Now, do you feel they would return to their zero COVID strictness ever, or is this the way it's going to be? Because the entire world is kind of shrouded in anxiety and fear at the moment.
Yes, I don't think that China will go back to zero COVID. I think it's unlikely because of the economic cost, but also because a lot of people in China are opposed to the strict restrictions which were imposed upon them for nearly 3 years. So the issue now for China is to regain confidence with the rest of the world and to more and more Chinese now want to travel. They want to travel in the region, to Korea, to Japan, to other places in Asia. And you can see a lot of countries in Asia and the rest of the world are getting very cautious and even suspicious towards the Chinese travelers because they're afraid of that they will bring new variants or they will contribute to spreading the disease again in their own country.
Thank you so much for joining us, John. We'll be in touch for more updates.
Thank you.